I know why you're here, because you saw the same announcement that I did, and you might be just as nosy as I am, and you want to know the tea. So I'm sure you have clicked on this video, you have found yourself here because you also saw the announcement that Cricut released on their social media yesterday, Sunday, February the 22nd, if you're watching later on. But they released a very cryptic post that just said, and let me just share with you all, it says, something new is coming this Thursday, 2/26/26. Let's just play back the video. Let's try this again. Do y'all see this? Pretty cool music. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, that's enough of that. Anyway, so when I saw this, actually, I didn't see it at first. Tanner sent it to me yesterday while I was sitting on the couch crocheting. And we started speculating. So, number one, my very first speculation with this is the fact that the shape of that thing where it said Cricut highly reminded me of the Cricut Joy Extra. It had those rounded corners, or the Cricut Joy, either one. That is the vibe that it was giving off to me. That was what I thought yesterday. Now, we have gotten maybe a little bit of insider information that might back that up. And this is going to come from a source that I'm not going to disclose, obviously, for you all. But we got some messages. Let me just go ahead and pull these up right here. You can see we got some messages. And I want to read these to you. It says, I'm not going to read you all of it. This is just going to be a quick overview. It says, so they, as in Cricut, accidentally leaked the video yesterday and I saw it. Another crafter posted it and Cricut reached out and told her to take it down. If it is the leaked video that I saw, it is a new Cricut Explore Air and Joy Extra, but smaller. So that is all I'm going to read from that. That is, once again, just speculation on what might be coming on Thursday. But I just don't want to go off of speculation. I want to look at the facts. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head over and look at some actual patents that Cricut has applied for in the last little bit and try to do a deep dive into what we think that they may be releasing on Thursday based on actual facts. So let's go ahead and head over to the Google Patent site. Now that we are here on the Google Patent site, I want to show you just kind of like how I have done my research and what I have done. So if you want to do this yourself, you can do this. You'll go to patents.google.com, and we're just going to type in Cricut. This is going to be anything Cricut related. And you can see I've sorted this by newest. So I want the newest to come up to the top. So the very newest one that they have filed, it looks like it was filed July 15th of last year, and it was published November the 6th of last year. So this one, when you look at it, why are the images not popping up? Normally the images pop up over here, but I don't know what's happening. Anyway, you can read through this. This gives you a summary of what all is in this patent, but I've already had chat summarize it for us. So let's talk about that. Okay, so here is what I have asked chat. I said, Cricut released that they are releasing something new this week. I found the most recent patent. Can you tell me in layman's terms what may be different? So I had chat read through the patent and kind of put it into more layman's terms so that we could understand it. So essentially this new patent, from what I have understood is more of like the mechanism inside the machine versus the full machine itself. So instead of a traditional belt and pulley system, which the other Cricut, and the reason that I know that even the fours, the Explorer and Maker 4, they're belt driven. So when you open your machine, you see that belt that runs, it goes back and forth. We actually had a lot of issues with our Explorer 4 straight out of the box with that belt. I could hear it go zing, zing, and it just didn't sound right. So anyway, this patent, instead of a traditional belt and pulley system like used in the Cricut Maker Explorer machines, this patent focuses on a motor, a pinion gear, so that is a gear that is attached to the motor, a rack that is a straight bar, and then the housing assembly that also moves back and forth. So it says this rack and pinion setup converts the motor's rotational motion into precise linear motion. So a motor turns this way, but the pinion and rack allows it to be a linear motion versus a rotational motion. So it says, in simple terms, think of this as how a steering rack works in a car, but instead of steering wheels, it's moving the cutting blade. Which, if this is the case, and it is just a new mechanism for precision cutting, I'm going to be super, super excited even if it's an upgrade, because like I said, we have had issues with our Explorer 4 straight out of the box. Never could get it figured out, never could get it fixed, but I really feel like, just based off what I heard, it was a belt and a motor issue. So if that's the case, I'm pretty excited about that. So anyway, what this could mean for a new Cricut. Mind you, this does not mean this is exactly what they're doing. You have to apply for patents way in advance, and then get them approved and published, all of this stuff. So this is all speculation. This is just the most recent patent. But it says more precise tool movement. So rack and pinion can be more accurate and less stretchy than belts, obviously. Potentially reduced wear, different machine feel. It could be like a more robust. So we also have some other speculation coming in. Now, this is from another undisclosed source, friend of the show. And this also goes along with this motor-driven blade and why it may be important. So no more manual blade settings. This is more of a motor-driven blade. So currently, in the current machines, the blade depth is set physically in the housing. Pressure is software controlled, but depth is static, meaning you cannot control the blade depth. It's just a static set depth. New is the motor that they're talking about seems to be a Z-axis control blade height. So it kind of controls that blade height dynamically up and down, not just back and forth. And then it says servo motors adjust pressure and depth in real time, and machine can change force mid-cut. Now, if that is the case and it can change pressure or force mid-cut, that is going to be a huge game changer. But once again, this is all speculation. Okay, this is all just speculation. So why this matters is because we will get cleaner cuts on thick material, less tearing on delicate material, and no guessing blade setting. So I want you to think about it this way. Think it's going to be closer to industrial plotters and less like a hobby cutter. So more like a CNC machine or something like that. Less like a hobby cutter. So if it is motor, and let's say it's this motor and pinion, and it is a lot more precise, I'm going to be here for it. I'll tell you that. So another thing is blade orientation memory and auto alignment. So the current machine drags the knife blade and it swivels freely. So this is for like a Maker Series machine. This is for like those adaptive tools. The knife blade is dragged and it kind of just swings freely. Orientation is passive. Stop and start points can overcut or tear. That's with that knife blade. So it seems to be with the new system possibility. Software remembers last blade direction, pre-rotates blade before cutting, and uses a soft drop to align the knife blade tip first. So that means the results are sharper corners, cleaner weeding, better tiny text performance, pretty much the same thing. So yeah, this is going to be huge. It says this is huge for intricate SVGs, mandalas, micro lettering, and detailed HTV designs. So once again, this is all speculation, but definitely some things to look into. Now, back to where I was talking to chat. That was just from a source that sent us some information. Back to where I was talking to chat. It says, bottom line, if Cricut is planning a new cutting machine based on this technology, it might feel and perform a bit differently compared to current models, which can be a great thing. I do think that Cricut has made leaps and bounds, so many good changes to Design Space recently, that changes and upgrades to their machine is only it's just the next thing that needs to be done. So I'm super excited about that. So I did also have it read other patents, recent patents, to see if there was anything else that we missed. Once again, this is next gen, how the head moves, the patent that we talked about. Tighter, more rigid cutting. That's just going to mean more precise cutting, more consistent accuracy on tiny details, potentially better performance at higher speeds or with heavier tool loads. Let's go back over to where we actually find the patents, and let me show you another interesting thing that has been filed for and published recently. So this one was actually published later than this one. It was filed for earlier. It was filed for in June. This one was filed for in July, but this one was published in December on Christmas versus this one in November. So this says heat press apparatus systems and methods. So what this is, when you go down here and look, a hat form of a heat press. So I don't know if it is. The hat form may include a cover, at least partially defining an internal volume of hat form. So maybe an actual like close arm hat press, but if you want me to be honest, I just don't think that the announcement on their Instagram, it just doesn't give me press or like heat press vibes. But this patent does give me hat press vibes, not just like the one that we have to manually put it. This one gives me like actual like arm hat press vibes when you read over it. But you all, please feel free to go through, look at these patents yourself, read through them. There's also some interesting things here about cutaway card assembly. That one was also published in October. I don't think we've seen necessarily anything there. But just because they filed for a patent does not mean that it's automatically something that they are making. We've seen this. We've talked about this. There was at one point talk about a potential laser that we thought after looking at patents. That never came true. So who really knows? It's all truly just speculation at this point. Once again, to quickly go over everything that we talked about, here is my hot take on this. My hot take is that it's not going to be a new machine that we haven't already seen. My hot take is it is going to be an upgrade to current machines. Now, if we go off of what was previously said, and somebody said the machine is smaller, then I don't think Cricut is listening. I don't think we want bigger. I just think we want better and more precise, which sounds like to me that they may be giving us. So from all of the information that we've gotten and what I have seen, I do think that there's a possibility that it may be another Joy Extra or something in the Joy family. Just my speculation. Do I feel like we need another super small machine? Some people may. I don't know. I'm not saying either way. I think that as long as the new smaller Joy has print and cut capabilities, that's really the biggest thing. But my thought is if it's smaller than the Joy Extra does 8.5 by 11. Why would you want to go any smaller? There's no point. So I don't think it necessarily needs to be smaller than the Joy Extra. It may be a smaller machine than the Explorer series machine. It may be a step between the Joy Extra and the Explorer. I don't know. But what I do know is that they have applied for a patent for a new motor that is not belt driven, and that is something that I can get behind. So I don't think it's going to be anything super, super groundbreaking, but I do think it's going to be upgrades that we have asked for and upgrades that we have wanted. And you know what? I'm going to say thank you, Cricut, if that's the case, because we can't complain and ask for new things. And then when we get something new, it's not super exciting, be disappointed. That's just facts. I think it's going to be great. I think Cricut is listening to its users, and I'm very proud of them as a company for doing so. Like I said, the upgrades that I have seen in Design Space have been phenomenal. I have always been a proponent of I don't like change. I don't like to upgrade. And I have always hated Design Space updates. I did not hate this last one. I actually thoroughly enjoy it. So if you haven't updated Design Space, I highly suggest you go in there and update it. And if you haven't been in Design Space in a while, get back in Design Space because you might fall back in love with the software. That was one of the reasons why I quit crafting for a while, is because the software just wasn't where I thought it should be. Now I've been crafting so much more and I am loving it. So I'm super excited about Thursday. I can't wait to see what they release. I think it's going to be epic either way. I'm so stoked. So you let me know down in the comments what you think it is. Do you think it's something different? Do you think it's something completely brand new? Or do you think it's just updates? Either way, sound out. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And I'm sure you'll probably meet us back here on the channel on Thursday to talk about the new release. So let me know in the comments what you think, and I'll see you back here on the channel this week. Bye, guys.